Welcome everyone to our session. We are talking about skills in every way, in everyday works. So this year has been really incredible for all of us, for COVID and everything we absolutely know. But we are here from with a group of amazing professionals from different parts of Europe. The interesting is that we are all from Women in Games Italy. So I'm the founder of Women in Games Italy, Micaela Romanini, and I'm happy to present you our panelists today. We are here with Giulia Zamboni, which is the co-founder and producer of Gamera Interactive and ambassador of Women in Games.
Hi.
Rachele Doimo, which is art director in Square Enix in London, and Simona Trenkova, which is a manager for CSGO in HSL. So she's from Esports. So we are talking about very different sectors, all of course in games. So I will. Sorry, Rachele, we can't hear you now. We can't see you now. So maybe let's try to join us again to see if we can see you. And I will start asking Giulia, maybe what do you think, Giulia, about skills that are needed today in a world where we have, of course, many issues we didn't have before? If we think about smart working, about interviews, many things has changed now. So people don't have the opportunity to meet by person. What do you think has changed today, and what are the skills very much needed in today's world?
So even considering the new situation we are all living in, around the world with the pandemic and all the consequences, the bad, let's say, consequences that it brought, I have to say that my point of view about which ones are the, let's say, better skills to be valued also in our industry, but I think that this could work also for other areas, are definitely more the so-called soft skills than the technical ones. And I say that because as a producer, but also as a co-founder of a studio, development studio, I found myself, of course, many times into different situations, and I, of course, bring also part to, interviewing processes. And let's say that soft skills are definitely mandatory from my point of view for a team to be able to work well. That's because what I think is that someone can also, you can have the best technical skills. You can be a wonderful coder or super good artist or whatever. But the problem is that making games is, it's a job that can be done just by a team. So, unless you are like a solo developer or similar, of course. And to be, let's say, to make a team work, it must, there are like a real need of soft skills, like like be able of communicate, with your team members, but also it's a matter of how to say, of mood. There are some people that, as I said, are super skilled, super technically skilled, but they can't really work with other people. They can't communicate, they can't talk with other team members. they are not pretty able to be part of the team, you know, and that's definitely a big problem for a team. So we usually prefer to have, I mean, we in general, I think that it's preferable to have someone that is not even not super and highly technically skilled, but that is able to work properly in a team. And this is something that could sound like I don't know, silly maybe, because this is one of the first things that you usually read in a resume, you know, like I'm super able of working in a team and stuff like that. But the reality is that there are a lot of people that definitely are not so able to work in a team, and sometimes they basically didn't even know. I mean, they are probably super convinced about that, but reality is that they create some, let's say, some obstacles than they are supposed to solve sometimes. And the other thing is that, but I mean, it's not the other. It's not another thing. It's something that could be you know, related to the soft skill group and cluster, because another thing that I consider a soft skill is the let's say ability to organize your own work. I mean, I'm a producer, so my job is to organize work. You know, to make plans, to make schedule, and organize also other people's works from a macro point of view. But the point is that also the single team member must be able to organize his or her own job, you know. For example, it's not so easy to find people that is able to estimate correctly their abilities. And that's something really you know, important in a team. Because I mean, if you say, okay, I will handle this in like one day, and then this task takes you like 3 days, it's a big problem. But on the other hand, it could also be a problem to say, okay, I will handle this in like one day, and then you finish the task in 1 hour, because that means that there are 7 working hours that are not efficiently used, let's say. So yeah, I will say that, just to conclude and make all other girls here to talk. I would say that the main 2 soft skills that I consider pretty important, especially now that we are in this COVID situation, and so we are forced to you know, smart working and stuff like that. Smart working could be a good thing, but of course it creates some issues that you usually don't have when you are working in the office, you know, physically in the office. Issues about communications, of course. So the 2 main things that I will point out to be the best, probably, soft skills nowadays are, as I said, the abilities to organize your own work, and the abilities to communicate, and also be, you know, in the mood of working in a team. So be polite, respect the other people work, and respect other people's roles also. That's it.
Yes, I think they are pretty important today. And Giulia, you have also touched a point which is very interesting. That's the one that unfortunately we see that many women working games are underestimating their skills compared to other colleagues and males especially. So we see, and this is particularly true in the game industry, because we know we are facing many issues today. But I would like to, we can see you now, Rachele, so it's good. I would like to ask Simona now. As Simona is working in esports, which it's male populated, it's a sector where we lack many women. So Simona, what are the skills you think women need to develop most to work in esports, especially to manage a team, because we know you are managing the CSGO team for HSL.
Yes. The first thing is the desire to get involved in this sector, and also patience. You need a lot of patience here, because you face with 7 or more players in the team, which has different ideas, different way to talk or to face problems. Someone can get angry, or someone can talk to you in a way which maybe isn't like you wish a player should talk to you, or just get angry, or wants to stop playing the team. So you have to get patient, talk to them. And the second skill, which is important, is communication. Knowing the knowledge of English, it's very important, because players are from different countries, not just maybe they don't just talk your mother language, so they talk English or other languages. So after good communication, the organization with the team, making them a good organization for the playing, from the practice, and also when you have to leave and go in an event in another city, maybe far away from you, you have to move 7 players, which have 7 different needs. Someone have to take maybe a train, someone have to take a plane, or coming by a car. So you have to take care of everybody of them, knowing where is he, what is he doing, is he coming, is he okay? So you're like for that event, you're like similar to their mom. You have to make sure he's fine, he's okay, because without him you can't play, like you lose. Other things is to keep the team together. You have to make sure they're not fighting with each other. You have to make sure they are okay, they are playing. You have to keep them calm, because one thing can broke the team. Can break the team and destroy them, and that's the end of the team. So you have to be careful how they feel, how they play, if they're okay, because one thing can go wrong, and the team destroys itself. You have to. One thing I think is important is the knowledge also in technology, because not every time the assistance is fast as you think, because most of events now, because of the coronavirus, are online. Mm-hmm. So you have to take care of the player as the computer side. If something happens, you have to also help him if he doesn't solve the problem. To be careful if he has any type of problem.
Sure. Yeah, it's true also, because now teams are, of course, working remotely, so it's not easy to coordinate people working from virtual location, especially people who have to compete for an award, of course. And Rachele, we know you are working as art director in Square Enix. What are the most difficult challenges you have faced this year with the pandemic, and what skills do you need, are most needed today?
First of all, hi everyone. I'm sorry for my internet, which is massively misbehaving as the worst time today, but hopefully it will hold on from now on. Thanks, Micaela. Well, basically now it's a really weird situation where, we've all changed the way we work. We were used to go to the office, at least most of the team were every day in the office, interacting face to face. Now the pandemic has changed everything. And I think there are a good side of it and a bad side. I mean, the bad is pretty obvious, right? We're stuck at home. It's kind of boring. We are on Zoom most of the days, and how many times you might have heard the terms of speaking about Zoom fatigue, and that's a fact. However, I think the pandemic has taught us that some jobs that we possible to be remote now are. Basically, we got some of our studios hiring for remote position that no one thought that could have been an option before. But managers, we always saw the manager had to be with the team on the ground floor, managing everyone, supervising everyone, motivating everyone, of course. Now it seems like it's possible managing a team even like this, like we're doing right now. So in a way, I think even more option, even working from different countries just remotely, not roles obviously, is not applicable to all departments and at every level. But I think, there's a little bit more freedom, maybe moving on. Also, you have to be in the exact city where your company is. I think that could be an advantage for many people. Or managing working hours, you have to be self-managed. I think that's a very important skill that maybe before you had a manager just like kind of checking on you all the time. Whether it's bad or good or pleasant or unpleasant, it's a different story. But now you have to self, and if you want to go for a lunch break, that's absolutely fine, as long as you complete your task within the manager gave you. So I don't think it's completely bad. I still miss traveling. I'm not saying this is ideal, but I think when we go back to normal, I think things will have changed inevitably. I think we'll also enjoy more like work together and collaborating face to face with people. But also, I think we valued how much it could be important being able to do your own job in your own time, managing your own schedule, managing your own time. So overall, I think is not too bad. Let's endure a little bit more, and then maybe we can go back to what we used to. Some advantages and some learning from this weird year. Hopefully it's not going to be much longer than a year.
Yes, hopefully. Hopefully, absolutely. We are about staying at home, not going to events, not to travel for business. It's really, this year has been really challenging, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just want to add something, because what Rachele said is easily relatable to one of the so-called soft skills that I just mentioned before. That is the one to be able to manage, your time, because this is a very cool thing to do if you have the chance to. But the, let's say, problem is that there are people that are not so, let's say, confident or not so, let's say, brilliant into manage his or her own time. So that's the tricky, let's say, thing about also smart working and stuff like that. And I said this because, of course, doing my job, so being a producer, I experienced a lot of times this kind of problems, especially since we started working from remote. Because there are some team members that are like that. I mean, that perfectly fit with this new our new pipelines, our new workflow, and stuff like that. And also, they are super okay with the fact that, of course, I can't be like under their back, every time to check due dates and timelines and stuff like that. And they are super fine with that. And probably they also, had some I mean, they started working even better probably with that kind of workflow. But on the other hand, I have to say that there are some people that really can't. I mean, it's not their own fault. It's not what I mean, of course. But there are some people that definitely are not into planning and correct estimation of time and stuff like that, and that are always like late with their tasks, or they just don't, since they don't care. So that creates a lot of issues to the other team members, because if you are you are doing your own task, your own job and everything, and you are always on time, if you are late for your own fault, you are the first one that said, okay, no problem, I will adjust it, and I will fix it. And on the other hand, you see some other colleague maybe that are always in late, and they seem not to care.
We are running out of time, so I will need to interrupt you. Otherwise, yes, we can reply to questions and everything. But that was good. So you had the chance also to reply to Felicity questions. So
Felicity, just apply. Don't be scared of everything. Don't be scared of anything. Just apply and apply and apply. And I mean, the important thing is what you already are able to do and what you are ready to, let's say, to learn. So that's the good mood and the right mood. Just apply and don't be afraid.
Yes, and how about the skills that are needed to work in the future? Because we, of course, we see that many companies are starting to think about going on virtual and remote working forever. But we can see also that the game industry is changing a lot, because we are seeing many industries related to games which are developing more and more, like, for example, esports, of course, virtual reality. We will be able to see maybe in the very next future virtual offices, so people will be able to join their company from home. But what are, in your opinion, Simona and Rachele, the next skills a professional who is willing to work in the game industry needs to develop, and how they can develop them? Okay, Rachele, we can see you. Maybe you can reply now as we can see.
I missed something, but I just want to add to that question. I think it was Felicity about applying, or JC, I can't remember. Please do apply. Keep applying. Don't give up. And most importantly, don't get discouraged if you don't get the job, or even if they don't even get back to you. I have applied to so many jobs and I've been rejected, not always in a nice way, so many times. It's not personal. And you might not know what's going on the other side of the company. They might have promoted someone internally. They might have canceled a project. They might have changed the criteria, the hiring criteria. So never take it personally. In my team, when I was the hiring manager, we closed down a position, we changed, we promote someone internally. Anything happen, there might not anything about you, your CV, your skill set. So keep applying. And that doesn't answer your question, Micaela, which I now forgot. I'm really sorry.
What are the skills you think that will be more needed in the future? Also thinking about maybe virtual reality as an opportunity for people to join their companies, or also next trends in the game industry?
Yeah, well, I think it depends on the studio, the role. There are so many elements that can play a role. I mean, in my case, for example, my job, except for the traveling, hasn't changed massively. we work with different studio in Square Enix, so we would be on Zoom or conference call most of the time anyway. We're missing the face-to-face, like when we normally travel, like every couple of weeks, every second week, I would be on a business trip in normal time. Now that's not possible, so be more engaging with all the developers, but it's not just publisher developers, it can be between a line manager and their direct reports, anyone in their team. So I think it's making sure you follow, listen, engage with your team or your line manager. Don't be afraid of, just asking questions, keep in touch. Something isn't clear, speak your voice, basically. I think that's really important. Whereas I managed before, I think, being able to manage your own work, that's super important because your manager might not be, in the same building as you are. And that can be an advantage because you could potentially apply to jobs that, you wouldn't before because you might have some family commitment, your kids are at school, you can't afford living, like London is a very expensive city, right? Now we hire people that are not, they've never moved to London if we didn't have a remote, they would never move to London if we didn't have a remote position. Also, we hired someone that I haven't yet met. So we hired someone last year, a couple of people in my team that we never met in person. So, that bar has gone. Now, before you would not hire anyone without like an on-site interview, a face-to-face interview, window, and we know it works. So we can save money on traveling as well.
I would say it's a very interesting opportunity for people working from all over the world, also for Italian professionals which are maybe listening to us, because there are many opportunities there weren't before. So it's a good thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I must say that we got one disadvantage, which is unfortunately Brexit, and not all position. Now we have some issue hiring people outside the UK, which is a real pain, we know where, and that is a little bit limited. But hopefully, finding yours, contract rather than collaboration, and the remote work actually, help on that. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
So, onto the screen, because we need to we're coming to the end of the time, and I know there's so much we could talk about as well. I know you guys have picked up the odd question coming through. Casey's Brown's had one as well, in Japanese and vintage in the game studios. She's put in the East as well as sort of UK or Italy and things. I think generally is always a positive, but I don't know whether you guys have seen Japanese as well coming into anything.
Well, I think that for the East part of the world, for sure, it would be a plus for sure. And maybe Rachele could give us some insights about the UK.
There's some Japanese DNA, strong DNA in my company, obviously. So, depends on the role. Is not necessarily something that we require, obviously, but there are so many roles that might require, some knowledge of Japanese that could be just beyond localization, between marketing, PR, digital sales. There's a bunch of, and it can be a plus, certainly. I don't think it makes a huge difference how many languages you speak if you're only an artist. I'm not saying that in a bad way, because I belong to the category. If you are a content creator, that might not necessarily affect massively your application. Maybe you guys have a different view on that, as I'm not exposed that much on that particular skill set.
Yeah, I know Japanese, so I'm very happy about your question. Yeah, I studied it some years ago, and I would say I work with some Japanese companies on special projects in education or partnerships. So in communication and marketing, I work in that sectors, and absolutely they speak English, but Japanese people
They speak Japanese
are
better.
happy to see people who know their language. So I see very often some offers, job openings for people who are speaking Japanese from, for example, the Pokemon company in the UK. So there are many studios which are looking for professionals who know also Japanese. Of course, these roles are more focused on localization and communication, mostly, as also Rachele was saying. But it's absolutely a good point. It's a plus if you know more languages.
Also, in esports could help you a lot by managing Japanese team or on the east side of Europe. West side.
Well, I think that's been fantastic. Thank you guys so much to the end of our session, but it was brilliant. It's good. You've been at everything else and experience. They've been really well received. We've had some really nice comments. So thank you, all of you, very much. We will see you soon.